Now we live.
What up, y'all? Mike got me all like, what up, y'all? Where's Sylvia? Sylvia, where you at,
Hello.
girl?
I can hear
All right,
you, but
anyway,
I can't see
red
you.
rum, murder. Depending on how you look at it, depending on how you perceive it, it say the same thing just backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the assassin or the assassinator? Have you been murdered or are you the murderer? They need to really capture this crime scene in the back. Like I don't know if they can get it, but they need to get that crime scene. Like so, I was watching. I know a lot of people seen it. I was watching the Jeffrey Dahmer movie, and I was thinking about how he didn't start out as a murderer. Like there was one point where I was thinking about how like first of all I'm bound. I can't do nothing because of these handcuffs, but I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But I was thinking about how there was a point where it was like learned behavior. Like he only did to others what was done to him. But it started from like rejection, like when his mother. I don't know if y'all seen it or whatever. Like when his mother left, he like it started from like rejection and abandonment. And I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, like he started
Thank you.
killing people because somebody killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you've seen it, but there was a point where
Thank
hey y'all. There was
Got
a
some
point
coffee.
where
Thank you.
okay,
Go ahead.
yeah, I'm going. There was a point where a point in the movie where he didn't know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much trusted somebody to lead him a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of led him astray. Like I remember him, he wanted to lay with the guy because
Mm-hmm.
he was a gay serial killer or whatever. He wanted to lay with the guy, and the guy pretty much just wanted a nut. Like the guy was like, I ain't, but he did what he wanted him to do so he could get what he needed to get.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that hurt him. So I guess it triggered his demons or whatever. And because of that, he became a serial killer. And then I was thinking, I was watching it, and I was like, so as the movie went on, blah 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 blah. I was looking at how there was a point in the movie where, because apparently it seemed like he was looking for love,
Mm-hmm.
looking for security, looking for affection, and there was a point where he got what he wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he murdered it.
Mm.
He murdered it. Like he met somebody that understood him. He understood them, and he murdered it. So I was like, dang, why he murder it and that's what he wanted? Why he self sabotage and that's what he wanted? Like you got what you wanted. Why did you murder it? So it was a scene where the guy was deaf. He couldn't I guess he couldn't talk, whatever, whatever. And he couldn't hear.
Mm-hmm.
So I was I'll be analyzing everything and I was like, somebody had to rely on their other senses because his eyes failed him,
Mm-hmm.
his ears failed him. So he had to rely on his other senses.
Mm-hmm.
Sight,
Mm-hmm.
well, not sight. He had to rely on really intuition because he couldn't hear the guy. The guy couldn't talk.
Yeah.
So they was sign languaging and they was writing notes back and forth. But there was this one point where Jeffrey said, "How do I know you coming back?"
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said, "Trust." I said, "Whoa,
Trust.
trust." But yo, he was so angry. His anxiety was so he was so angry because he didn't trust that the guy was coming back. And I was looking at that because I was like, the guy was so innocent. He was like, yo, if I tell you, I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
But that's because he probably has been disappointed in others before, so he couldn't trust, even though he was told to trust, because others have let him down and disappointed him, possibly.
Yeah. Like, and I was just like, wow, like, like you get what you want, right?
Mhm.
But you still the murderer. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes we think we're being murdered, right?
Mhm.
And we're actually the murderer.
Mm. Yep.
We're actually the murderer. Sometimes you holding the knife. Sometimes you got the knife in your hand and you stabbing at somebody else's heart. And you don't
Subconsciously,
even know it.
and you don't even know it. A lot
And
of
you
times it's
don't even know
subconsciously.
it.
Subconsciously, you're destroying somebody. I had somebody tell me recently that he knew that he manipulated this female that he was in a relationship with, and he said to me, he said, it really, really messed me up because I destroyed what was possibly a really good girl, and I realized I destroyed her manipulating the situation because I didn't disclose some information that was very important to her. I knew it. I didn't give her this information, and now I destroyed her.
Dang.
And I was thinking about it, like, what, it's commendable that you thought that and was accountable, but it never even made me realize, like, but damn, how many people have I destroyed? Like, like, he took accountability for him destroying this person and knew, like, she was a pretty good person, but now she's really, really fucked up because I fucked her up because I manipulated the situation.
Ain't that something?
And I'm like,
But it's like learned behavior because I was looking at how he was really innocent in the beginning.
mm-hmm,
He was just a broken man.
mm-hmm,
He was hurt. He was a broken man. He was in the beginning. He was really innocent, and I was thinking about how, like, I don't know if Mike can get that, but how a lot of times things happen when we're children.
mm-hmm,
Them inner child wounds, like a lot of things happen when we're children, and when you don't deal with that, it becomes chains. Like you become bound.
mm-hmm,
Like I can't move. I'm bound to
mm-hmm,
the chains that bind me.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then you become like addicted to certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I was watching how he became addicted to killing. Like, I'm gonna get you before you get me.
And that's the biggest thing. And we was talking about that earlier. Like, I'm gonna kill you before you kill me. And while a lot of people feel like that might be the code of the streets or things of that nature, really that's just life. Like, I'm gonna hurt you before you hurt me. I'm gonna get over on you before you get over on me, because ultimately I gotta get you. And that's a mentality that unfortunately so many people that have that.
And that's what was happening. Like, I mean, yo, it's really a dope movie. Y'all gotta watch that. Like, I was really, I watched that thing. Like, I've been watching it for like 3 days straight because
Wow.
I'm just like, and then I was looking at the end, like how his father, yo, like at the end, his father was pretty much blaming himself, the guilt. His father had so much guilt. He was like, I wasn't there for you, but he took accountability.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because he showed him how to kill. Well, not how to kill, but you know what was crazy though? He showed him how to pick up rogue kill. So he was fascinated by something that was already dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that thing hit me so. Cause I was just saying how sometimes we fascinated by things that are already dead.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no life in it, and we just fascinated by it.
Mm-hmm.
We just fascinated by things that are just dead, and we try to resurrect situations that are already dead, and then that is what binds us. Now we're handcuffed to things that, and it's hurt. Like I can't even, like I can't move.
Yeah,
I'm so
trying
restricted.
to scratch my, like,
Yeah, like,
just
like,
and it's
like
like
I
I
want to do
can't.
something, and I can't do it because I'm so bound to what I've learned, what I picked up. Like that, I was watching that thing, and I was just like, yo, like everything. It became an addiction
Mm-hmm.
for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then it became like a mastermind.
Mm-hmm. Because it takes
Yup.
control over your mind. It takes control over your mind, and a lot of times it's learned behaviors. So this is what you're thinking that, like, while it might have come off as crazy to the rest of the world, these are things that are learned behaviors. So it's normal for him.
Mhm.
And so, at what point in time do you realize like these things are not really normal for the outside world, but
Mhm.
it's normal for me? So this is okay.
Mhm.
And that's a behavior, like you have to kill that, murder that behavior, those behaviors, because a lot of the times it's the people, the places, and things. It's all of these behaviors that we're bound to, and then you're not necessarily bound to the result or the feeling that it is. It's the behaviors that you're bound to. Once you cut that, you realize that these end results, these feelings, this end result is really not what I'm looking for, but it's I'm so accustomed to it, I'm bound to this.
And I feel like I said today, you get tired of being a murderer,
Mhm.
hitting this brick wall,
Mhm.
because sometimes you have to look at yourself and say, am I the murderer?
And girl,
Am I the murderer?
am I the murderer?
Am
Yes.
I holding the knife?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
maybe I'm holding the knife.
Mhm.
Maybe I have stuck a knife in somebody's heart,
Mhm. With my own heart too.
in my own heart, and I'm my own worst enemy. Because like I was looking at when he was in court, right? So he apologized. He did, but he had no emotion. It
Because
was.
he probably did it because that's what he knew that he was supposed to do, but he didn't really feel it.
He said, I knew what I was doing. Damn, what is that when you know you doing something and you just keep on doing it? I know I'm hurting you,
Mhm.
but I just keep on hurting you because I don't even care. I care, but then I was thinking about too. Wait, let me go back. I was thinking about how it was. Like I said, it was perspective. Like so the deaf guy, right?
Mhm.
He couldn't hear him say "I love you."
Mm.
Sometimes people, they need to hear it. You have different types of people. Sometimes people need to hear it. Sometimes people need you to show it.
Mhm.
You know, like you could deal with somebody that's not a great communicator. It don't mean they don't feel it.
Yeah.
They probably feel that thing so deep, but they just can't even verbalize "I love you." It probably hurt them to be like, "I love you." You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how to say it because I'm so afraid that you might not reciprocate or you might not receive
Or even
my love.
reject. Let's say you receive it, but now you're rejecting it, and that's what we was talking about before. Like, so you think that you're wrong in your thoughts and your feelings because you're so afraid of the rejection. You're so afraid that, okay, not even that you're not going to receive it. You might receive it, but what if you receive it and I'm pouring out and everything into giving to you that this is my feeling, and you're like, I don't really want that.
Ooh.
I don't want that.
We
So,
was me and somebody was talking about that today. Like I was like, there's a responsibility that has to be had. Like the blood. It's almost like the blood is on your hands. Yo, it's a responsibility. Like I look back, right? So I got married when I was 30. I don't even remember, but there's a 36, I think. 36-year-old me is now 43-year-old me.
and it shouldn't be.
And no, it shouldn't be, but 36-year-old me is not 43-year-old me. And so, what I thought I knew at 36, what I know at 43 is totally different. There is a light bulb that goes, my mother said something today, there's a light bulb that goes off every decade. Okay, prime example. I did my closets today, right?
Okay.
Okay. Last year, I was able to do my whole closet in a day. Man, listen, I got about 3-4 bins left. I can't do it. I don't have the energy. And I was like, wow. And I thought about that. I was like, things have changed. Sometimes people just don't have it. It's not that they don't feel it. Sometimes people have just been so murdered, so murked, so murdered
Mhm.
I don't got it.
Mhm.
I don't have the energy. I don't have the capacity. I don't
Mhm.
have the I don't and I want to, but I don't have it.
Mhm.
I physically don't have it. I mentally don't have it.
Mhm.
I don't have it because I've been murdered
Mhm.
myself.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
We got Sylvia here.
oh
Can you?
Sylvia, hey boo. Wait, how can I unmute
Hi.
that? I don't know how to do.
No,
Ah!
you
No,
can
she's
just
muted.
you can talk
Okay,
because
I'm embarrassed.
it's
Hello.
going out.
Okay, get it, boo. Hey
Hey,
Sylvia,
give us an audio check, Sylvia.
Hey.
can we see her?
Can
You
you
can
hear
see
me?
her.
You can see it
I
here.
can see her here, but they
Yeah.
can't see her. Oh, they can see her.
Yeah.
Okay, hey Sylvia, can we turn her up?
Hi.
There
Can
we
you guys
go.
hear me?
There we go.
You call the mute. Call the mute. Just try to listen to Sylvia.
Okay, so we talking about murder. What we was talking about this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we're
To
the assassin and the assassinator.
mm,
It just all depends on perspective of the spectator. Cause you could think you doing something right, and you done rip somebody heart out, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it.
mm-hmm.
Murder She Wrote, a whole crime scene, and you don't even know that you have hurt someone. And sometimes you do know,
Mhm.
and sometimes you so far gone. Sometimes you so far gone that you don't even know how to fix it, cause it's already dead. And what is your take on that?
So from the conversation that we were having this morning, we were referencing being emotionally responsible,
Mm.
making sure that you understand that I'm not in a place right now to take on this relationship, right? Whether it be a friendship, a romantic relationship, whatever it is, to so that way you
Hey,
don't
cousin.
become the person who is now out here murdering other people because you got murdered.
Word. Word.
Be emotionally responsible to take yourself out of the game or off the market to
Mm.
do the healing, whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you don't go out here intentionally hurting other people because you're hurt.
And to be
Mhm.
okay when somebody doesn't verbalize that. Because sometimes people won't verbalize, I'm not ready for you. I'm going to murder you.
Mhm.
Ain't no murderer really going to tell you, I'm about to kill you, child.
No. No.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people
Mhm.
don't know, and sometimes people
Nah,
don't know they're murdering you.
no.
They don't. You know what I'm saying?
No. Mm-mm.
Like sometimes they don't
No.
know, so you
But
have
I
to.
think,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Seth.
Go ahead, babe.
I'm sorry, it's a delay, so it's like,
We got
so I think what ends up happening is when you realize that you are now, you may not know that this is what you're doing because this may be a learned behavior, right,
you.
from
Mm-hmm.
childhood or whatever. However, the person now on the receiving end of that, you have to also know yourself to say, hey, you know what? Something about this isn't feeling right, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like emotionally, something is off.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that comes with knowing yourself and having that emotional intelligence that you can walk away, even if somebody is not able to verbalize, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this. You can say to yourself, I know that you can't do this, so I'm going to
Yes.
take myself out of the equation.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. 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 And be okay with it. You know, like I met a guy today in my building, right? And so he was telling me how he trains dogs, and he got these big old bulldogs, right? They're huge. And so he was like, the dog is so trained, and he was saying how the dog, when he first got the dog, it was aggressive and it had actually killed its babies.
Mm.
And I was like, wow. I mean, but looking at the dog, you would not know that.
Yeah.
And so he was saying how it wasn't because the dog wasn't fed or whatever, whatever, whatever. It was because the dog was neglected. And I said, wow. I said, that's people. When people are neglected, they become like angry dogs. So you have to. That go back to what we was talking about last week. Like you have to retrain your mind. He retrained that whole dog. I hope he listening. He retrained that whole dog. It is a whole different animal. An animal. A whole different animal because he retrained his mind. And I was thinking about how when I was watching the Jeffrey Dahmer show, how his grandmother believed in him. His grandmother was like, you're a good person deep down. Sometimes you only need one person to believe in you. And sometimes it's you that has to believe in you. To know that I'm really not this person that people have painted me out to be. I'm really not this monster that you thought I was. You know what I'm saying? Something happened to me that made me a monster. So something happened to me that made me a murderer. But I'm not. You know what I mean?
And that also goes to say too, like what Sylvia was saying, like you don't know sometimes too, you know. And when you do get to the point where you're in the know, now you have to make the strides to change. So where do you go? Like, all right, now I know I'm a murderer. I know that I've done some pretty foul things to people that I'm apologetic for. How do I go ahead and move forward? Do I carry this baggage? We gotta let that baggage go too, because now I'm not going to be convicted for this murder. Once I'm, free, I'm not gonna live in it and can keep convicting myself over and over and over again for the same crime. You gotta let that stuff go. Yes, take accountability for what you did.
And that goes back to chains. Like, I can't do this. Like, I got to set myself free. Like, at what point, like for real, like, and the safety thing is not coming off. Like, somebody help me because I'm claustrophobic.
Need to.
Yes.
Somebody help me, Lord. Girl, I'm about to have a whole panic attack. I'm like,
Thank
I can't
you.
get my arm free, Jesus. Wait a minute, Lord. I gotta go.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the thought. Because at what point do you say, I'm tired of being bound to my own self? Look at that. Don't that feel better?
It do. It's like, all
at
right.
what point do I'm just tired. Like, I believe that even though he got locked up, even though he got caught, I believe that set him free. Because I'm sure he was tired. I'm tired of murdering people. I'm tired of murdering my own self. Because he had what he wanted, but he killed it. That like really like touched me. Like, we pray for things and we want things, right? And we get it. And we murder it. I'm a witness. Straight murder it.
That part.
Straight kill it. So I was also thinking too how people they're dark. There's so many people that suffer in silence. Somebody called me the other day. Suffering. Her suffering. Her suffering might not be my suffering, but she's still suffering. What I thought was 1, 2, 3, for her it wasn't. Like, she really was like, I can't see light at the end of the tunnel. And I believe that it stems from something that's just darker than her. Like, just like just deep. It's so deep. But does it make her wrong?
No, absolutely not. And then you have to think about it, like, everybody goes through different phases and different, different experiences in their lifetime. So she might be dark, and then you, as an empathetic person, like, you can feel that. So when you go, like I know for me, I went into the church, and you would figure that's where the people's souls is, like, but it wasn't like that. I felt darker when I left church than I did when I went there, because there's so many broken souls that was in there reaching out, and I could feel it, and it's like, okay, this is like draining. So you have to be mindful, like, okay, she reached out because she was hurt. You was there to be the light for her, maybe show her something at a point in time, but you have to be mindful that everybody doesn't realize that they're needing the light. Everybody, when you go, like when I went into church, it's the people that's the singing in the choir, the ones that I felt the darkest. I'm just being honest. So these are the people that are hurting the most, and they're the ones that they have that's singing Hosanna, that's supposed to be not the cheerleaders of the church, but they're the ones that are hurting the most. So these are the people that need the people that they have in a place to sing the joyful noise unto the Lord, to bring the storehouse, are the ones that's hurting the most. So these are the people that we need to reach out, because they're the ones that not realizing that they're hurting. They're the ones that not realizing, like, oh, I'm the one that's doing all these murders. The people in the pulpit, the people that are there, that's that's a whole nother story for me to go into.
No, I mean, it's real. It's like I said, like when we was driving today, I said, yo, I was like, I've been here before. Like, I've seen this. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was just thinking about bodies. Bodies. Murder. Bodies. I got bodies. For real. I got bodies. Bodies. And you get tired of killing. And tired of being killed. Like, and it's almost like you just keep stuffing it, and you just keep hiding, these bodies and these skeletons. Like, I wish you could get that. Like these skeletons. Like, I don't know if they can see it. They probably can't see it. But like these skeletons and these bodies, it's like you get tired. I don't want to go into 50
With that same
with
baggage.
bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna always be there, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to go.
Set
Like,
it
I'm
free.
closer to 50 than I am to 40. You know what I'm saying? Like, at what point do you just say enough is enough? How do we stop murdering and being murdered? For real, how do we solve these crimes?
The first thing, and when any crime that you do, you have to gather the facts. And I feel like at
The
that
facts.
point, when you
The
realize, like,
facts.
all right, for me, I can say I've done some things that may have hurt someone. So now I'm gonna take accountability. Are these people that I can actually apologize to for my thing, my saving grace? Maybe. Some people I'd rather not, because I know that, that's going to open up a whole nother can of healing for not just me, but that person. So you got to gather the facts and figure out what it is. But then it also is going to take a point of knowing that I am someone that hurt, and not looking at it like I am always being hurt.
Victim.
What is the problem?
That's
Why am I
right.
always
That's
hurt?
right.
Because I hurt people too.
That's right.
So I have to,
Unknowingly.
yes, and I was
Yeah.
about to say, now I got to realize, okay, did I hurt you intentionally or did I do it unintentionally? Because I'm going to be honest, some people I don't know I hurt.
That's right.
And some people I know what the hell I did.
Okay.
I did it,
Okay.
and yeah, I did
That's
it.
right.
So now I got to gather those facts. What am I doing? What am I doing?
Like I said, I got to go back to that point where he when he said to God, "How do I know you're coming back?" Yo, he had the hammer behind his head. Like, I'm about to kill you anyway, whether you come back or not.
Because he had already made up in his
He had
mind.
already made up in his mind that you ain't coming back. And I'm going to kill you because I done put my heart on the line. And I'm going to kill you because I just know you ain't coming back.
But that's because you didn't feel, he didn't feel that he was worth you coming back.
He didn't feel that he
Whether
was
you
and he
even-
didn't trust.
And I was about to say he didn't trust,
That's
but the
right.
reason why he didn't trust is because he didn't trust himself.
He
Because
didn't
he
trust
knew that if
himself,
he
that's
was
right.
given the opportunity, he wasn't coming back.
That's true. I mean, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get it. You know, so it's really not it's a you factor. It's a you factor. But I was just thinking about how he, the guy was so innocent. He was like, he put his hand on his heart, and I was thinking about how all your other senses will fail you, but your heart will never fail you. Your eyes may fail you, your ears may fail you, because sometimes we can't hear what people are really saying because we're hearing from a place of hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I hear what you're saying, but I hear it through her ears. I see what you're doing, but I see it through her eyes. But that
And it's all
heart,
about perspective too,
perspective,
because
that's
then
right.
and what we talked about this morning, because even with the situation where I thought I saw something, I was reading a text message and I was like, let me put my glasses on. I put them glasses on and the whole message meant something altogether different. And then you realize like it's a perspective, because I read it in a
We looking
place of
around.
hurt. It was a place of hurt. But then when I came back and was like, all right, let me read it again with a different set of eyes, everything meant a whole, everything was different. And I was like, okay.
Because like so what you might have said to me last year,
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
I'm perceiving it different this year
Yeah. Yep. Because your whole
because
mind
I'm a different
space.
person.
Yep. Your mind space is different.
I'm a different person,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the main point was he had to trust.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so hard. It is so hard to trust.
Especially, how can I trust you when I don't trust
But I
myself?
don't trust myself. And you know, I thought about that today too. I said, you know, I feel like he didn't trust him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he knew he had the capability of hurting him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why he ain't trust him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because somebody else hurt me. I don't want you to hurt me more than that person has hurt me. I can't deal with this hurt again.
I said, yeah.
So now
I ain't
I
got
can't.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I remember somebody said to me, I will never forget this, y'all. They was like, you hurt yourself. I ain't hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
I said, damn.
Mm-hmm.
But yo, I will never forget that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to figure out what that meant.
Shit, at the end of the line, how you could look
I
at it.
got it,
Yeah,
but I'm
I was about to
still
say,
like,
and just look at it like, you
dang.
know what? I did.
I did.
I did.
Because I
did.
put my trust
in
I ain't gonna say
somebody
the
else
wrong
and
person
not.
because it taught me a lesson. Or let's look at it another way. Or maybe you didn't trust me from the get go.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't trust me from the get go.
Or,
Uh-oh.
wait a minute now.
No, I think it's actually even deeper than that. I
Okay.
think it's a lot of times we get into relationships because of a trauma bond,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
and we pair bond with people who they are a reflection of who we are.
I agree with that.
So
100%.
if we're broken,
Yep.
they're gonna
we're
be
going to
broken.
attract somebody who's broken,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll find yourself in this toxic loop. And like the guy said, like you hurt yourself because you're going looking for something
That's not there.
that you should be looking within first.
That's right.
Or the connection
So
with the
like,
higher
you can't
power.
be going to look for somebody who's healed and who's going to meet your needs if you can't even meet your own needs.
But I didn't even know. I didn't even know at that time.
And
With
can
that
I
particular
add?
person, I didn't even know at that time that I had needs that needed to be met at that time.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, you know, I'm just
But
now.
that's the one glaring detail we always overlook
Mhm.
is we don't examine ourselves first.
Let a man examine himself, child. Okay.
We go shopping with we just going through the store with no shopping list. We don't even know what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
We just start grabbing things and throwing it in the cart,
Mhm.
and then we convince ourselves this is what we needed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get it home, you're like, why did I get all this stuff?
'Cause I
That's
didn't
what
even
happens
need
in
it.
relationships.
Yeah.
We start shopping for stuff that we don't need, and the stuff that we need, we don't even look within ourselves.
But sometimes, again, like you don't know you need it until you be like, yeah, that don't feel good.
But the question is why?
Because you don't know yourself. Me and Sylvia was talking about that this morning. Where you at, Syl? We was
Yes.
talking about that this morning. Like,
Right
you
here.
don't even know what you needed. And I didn't know what that person needed. Like sometimes, like I'm an over communicator. sometimes people don't need that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's love language is different. Like sometimes people don't need you to talk so much. Sometimes they need you to show up. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes they might need they might not need verbal. Like he said, like sometimes people need to see it.
Mm-hmm.
They might not need to hear it. I need to hear it.
And it could be where you are at that point in time, because I feel like for your love language, while they might intertwine. So for
Yes.
like for me at a point in time last year, maybe not last year, maybe like 3 years ago, mine was I needed affirmations.
Affirmation. Yep.
I
Uh huh.
needed that. And then as time went on, I'm like, all right, I don't really need these affirmations from you anymore. But I did like time and touch, like, and it's just like, I don't know, it was something different. Whereas acts of service was something that was what I showed mine. Like, I had to do acts of service. So it's like, once you realize, like, they're intertwining, and now at this point of my life, I'm not at that acts of service. Like, I'm not, like, I don't have to show you that I love you by doing something. I can probably just be like, all right, just, a whole nother way now, so it changes for your need at that point in
Can I
time.
also
Like
add
it's
something?
crazy because so I'm older now, right? There was a
Can I
time
add something?
where, like I at one time in my life, I dated a guy that was a barber, just like me.
Mm-hmm.
So we got it. You know what I'm saying? But now I realized. Then I dated someone that wasn't a barber, so they didn't understand time.
Mm-hmm.
My time was I was busy. I was trying to make that money. Like you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. But now time is important.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
We are 40, hitting 50. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have a lot of time. So when somebody makes the time to
Mm-hmm.
spend just a little time with you,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of got to cherish that.
Mm-hmm.
Cause we're busy. Like look what we was doing today. We're all busy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We,
I think Sylvia want to jump in.
oh, I'm sorry,
You want to
Sylvia.
jump in,
You want to
Sylvia?
jump in?
Mm.
I gotta step off for a minute, child. Go ahead, Sil.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Okay,
So
I'll be
I
right
just
back.
wanted to really quickly piggyback off of what was just said about your love language changing.
Sorry.
So, with your love language changing, I do think that it is now incumbent upon the person to communicate that to your partner. If you know that you now need to be loved differently, you need to be communicating that.
Yeah, unpack
Hello?
that some more.
So, if, like she said, last year it was, maybe affirmations. So this year, maybe you need time and maybe acts of service, right? It is now your job to communicate this to your partner or people in your life and say, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm kind of needing to be loved a little bit more in the way of you showing up for me on this day for this thing, right? Being able to communicate what it is that you need and how you need to be loved, because it's not fair for people to just guess or know that your love language has changed. You've changed, you've grown, and if they
Mm-hmm.
haven't noticed that, it's not fair to say that, well, you should have known this or you should have seen this. I mean, yes, and if it's your intimate partner, right? Like if you're in a relationship, it's a romantic relationship, you would like to believe that your partner would notice that. But they may not, because they're also going through their own personal changes. Have you noticed that they've changed, that their love language is different? I feel like when you notice that there's a change in you, communicate that to your partner to say, hey, I'm kind of needing this a little bit more.
And you can communicate that, right? You can say we was talking about that the other day. You can say that, but you can't make the other person talk back. All you can do is say how you feel. You know what I mean? I
But that's your
mean,
only job. And I think that's the part. That's your only job, is to actually just communicate that. Now, what the other person does with it and how you allow for them to operate once, you've communicated that to them, that's that's a separate thing. But you have to say, hey, this is what I'm now needing.
And
And
you
if they can't provide that, it's up to you to say, I don't want this, or I can leave, or you can go, you can do whatever you want.
and just because I was talking to Kanisha the other day, I said just because they're not responding doesn't mean they're not receiving.
Mhm.
That goes back
Mhm.
to, like, let's go
Mhm.
back to the movie. Like, there was a barrier here because one person was deaf, the other person could hear, but the other person was deaf, so there was a restriction there.
Mhm.
But that
Mhm.
doesn't mean it wasn't being received.
And did he learn sign to be able to communicate with him, or he already knew it? Because it might even be that there was a miscommunication with even how they were communicating if he didn't properly learn sign.
Because the guy said in the movie, he said,
Mhm.
doesn't it get exhausting writing everything down? Do you watched it, right, Sil?
I'm only on the second episode.
Okay,
So,
that's all right. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But he said, doesn't it get exhausting writing everything down? And he said, no, writing everything down with you makes it exciting. Yes, I did the same thing. I was like, wow, because when you know, sometimes you do feel misunderstood. You do feel like don't nobody get you. But when you find that one person that you feel like get you, yeah, I'm gonna write everything down because I get you.
And it's crazy that you're saying that because remember I told you that as we just talked about this morning, everything that he said we was writing it down, and I'm like I got notebooks, like notebooks with everything written down and stuff, and it's like that's not what I do, writing stuff down. But we're looking at goals and dreams and things of that nature, and we're writing down and looking back from 2016, like these are the things that you're thinking. Now we're in 2022, like you write things down, and it's like that's not something you're
Hey
customly
y'all.
doing. You're customarily doing, and now you're doing something different because, and that's why I said before, you change. You're not the
That's
same
right.
person anymore.
your
This
healing
person
evolves.
you're evolving with. So this is where growth is at, and this is where.
But I still was just like, but he still murdered him.
But then the thing about it is like, and I didn't see it, so we'll
Yeah, I
talk
was
about it
real
later
annoyed
on.
by that. Like, you, this what you asked for. You got
But
it, and you gonna
because
kill it.
but that
But
I hear
I've been there. I get
that
it.
yeah, I was about to say he self sabotaged because he thought that that's what he
Self-sabotage.
wanted, and
Yeah.
he didn't really know what to do with it once he got it. So
He
it's
was
like, well,
scared.
now I got this love that I've been looking for. What the fuck I'm gonna do with it now?
And that's exactly how he felt. He was so angry. Like, I need y'all to watch this movie, yo. I don't know. I was really feeling it. Because I don't watch movies. I was really feeling it like, yo, he had the thing. He was so angry. And the guy was like, I'm coming back. He put his hand on his heart. He was like, I need you to feel my heart and know that my heart is pure. Like, I'm not going to hurt you. And he still killed them. Damn. Like, he still killed them. He still murdered them. But again, sometimes we are actually the murderer as well, and sometimes we don't even know. We don't even know. We don't know. So I feel like trust is very important. It is. It's hard, but it's very, very, very important. But it's really, you have to trust yourself. It's not really putting your trust in other people. It's trusting yourself. You know.
And that's where the biggest problem is at, trusting yourself. You know, just or putting your trust in the higher power.
There you go. That's it.
That's really where it's at. When
That's
you're
it.
connected there, that's where the
That's
whole
it.
changes everything.
That's it. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to a rock that's higher than I. Because that goes back to anxiety and my thoughts. And you know what I'm saying? When my thoughts get too overwhelming, I got to go to something higher than me. So I can center that thing back on down, you know? But I do want to thank y'all for coming on. I want to thank everybody that was listening, everybody that was on. We have to wrap this up. So we'll be back next Monday. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you,
I
Sylvia.
appreciate you.
No problem.
Everybody else, I
Thank
you
y'all
for
for having me. I
watching.
really
And we'll
appreciate
see you
y'all.
next Monday.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.